All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to IGA for October 7th at 11. First up on our list is Board of Elections. And we're all set.
Good morning.
Morning.
We have quite a few items for you today, as you can see. The first, we have some grants we need to talk about. The first one is the absentee prepaid postage grant. There's no action needed on this one. We're just simply letting you know that you had approved it, you had given us the money. And there was one pending reimbursement from 2024 that was discovered in 2025 that they refunded us for. So we have refunded you. So we're just letting you know that we gave back 92.87.91 for that reimbursement.
Great.
The 2025 election grant. So two of these grants we just received in September. So we're able to now accept those and transfer those funds over. So the first one is a 2025 election grant, and we're requesting approval to accept the 2025 election grant for a term from April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2026. And that's the standard term for all of our grants. And that's in the amount of $7,039.59. We're requesting approval for the budget modification from A10 1450 000 to 1455.45 M&S. So we're just asking you to put the money in our M&S account. And then we're asking for approval to spend those funds because that's going to come right along in the next couple of conversations. And this will be for to buy printers for the e-poll books. We want to use those for the 2025 election. Therefore, we need to buy them now so they're delivered in time for the election.
I move approval to accept the 2025 election grant program and do the budget modification that goes with it.
Second.
Questions? That's good news. Roll call.
Keaton.
Aye.
Mickle.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Bazile.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Aye.
All right, that's all approved.
Our third one is vote by mail grant, and we're requesting approval to accept a vote by mail grant for a term again from April 1st, 25 to March 31st, 26. That one is in the amount of $14,779.66. Again, we're asking you to put the money into our M&S account. And we're expecting to spend that money on items such as paper joggers, letter openers, absentee envelopes, access cabinet, paper folder, miscellaneous office supplies, etc. And so we're requesting approval to transfer the funds and to spend the funds and to accept it.
We have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions for it? All right. Roll call.
Keaton. Mickle.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Bazile.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Aye.
It's approved.
All right, and then the next one is our big item. We told you in the past that our e-poll books will need to be upgraded. And we had talked about doing a capital project, but we have the funds to buy this using various monies that we have available. And so the cost of it is $128,000 approximately. It's a state contract, and 128,648 is what it is. And we're requesting approval from you to purchase those e-poll books at a cost not to exceed $130,000. In order to make this purchase, we're going to be using $31,850 from our reserves, some grant monies, and we're going to do those transfers in a few minutes.
So moved. I second the purchase of the e-poll book.
Any questions? Same company and everything that you.
Yep.
But we're just letting you know ahead of time that we will be using some of the reserve money before you make a decision.
And this is the most recent, the handout one. Okay, roll call.
Keaton.
Aye.
Mickle.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Bazile.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Aye.
All right, next one.
Our next one is the reserve fund. So we are asking for approval to use $31,850 from our reserves. That consists of $22,850 from the money that we charge back to reserves annually towards the replacement of voting equipment, and $9,000 from rental of equipment, other gov, which is actually not rental. We don't rent. We program their equipment. And we're gonna be using those funds along with, $5,150 that's gonna leave us with $5,150 in the reserves when we're done spending this money towards this purchase.
I have a motion.
I second the budget modification.
Now, these are your reserves for your department.
Yes,
Yes.
Not
Yes.
just Get it mixed up with.
correct. And
Any
each year
other
we put them-
reserves?
we add to these reserves each year. And we also program other elections and the costs we get from that, or the money we get from that, we put away for this sole purpose of doing this.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Keaton.
Aye.
Mickle. Kennedy.
Aye.
Bazil.
Yes.
Scanlon.
All right.
So our budget mods and transfers, we're requesting approval for the following budget mods. We're asking to transfer the money from a 1011450-0000-43089 to our M&S account in the amount of the $51,237.80. That is the poll book grant that you approved back in July. And we didn't move the money at that time because we didn't know when exactly we were buying it, but now we are here, ready to go. You've already approved the grant, we just need the funds now.
Roll call.
Keaton.
Aye.
Mickle. Kennedy. Absent. Bazil.
Yes.
Scanlon.
I'll pass on that.
And I don't know if you want to do all of the budget mods as one for the next. This is all goes towards the purchase of the equal books. Or if you want me to do them individually.
I would do them all in one.
Yeah, because we could probably do one resolution for all of them.
Okay, so we're doing a budget modification for $22,850 from the election expenses to M&S. We're doing a budget modification for $9,000 from the rental of equipment, other gov, which is actually programming of equipment, to M&S for $9,000. We're requesting a transfer from election expenses to M&S for $29,015. That is actually the money that was charged back that we received this year that hasn't actually been moved to reserves yet, so that's still sitting there. And then we wanted to transfer from the rental of equipment, other gov, the $5,250 again that we earned this year that hasn't been transferred to reserves yet this year, but would be. And then we're just transferring $4,270 from our contract line items to M&S to make up the final difference for the purchase.
Second.
Any question on all those? Roll call.
Keaton.
Aye.
Mickle. Kennedy.
Aye.
Bazil.
Yes.
Scanlon.
All right, the next item is we would like to have approval to attend the winter conference in Albany. We do day commute, so we just go up there for the day. We have lunch, we drive back, use a county vehicle. It's $212 per person.
I move approval that they attend the winter conference in Albany.
Second.
That you and Mike.
How many people?
You too.
Two.
Or you might.
You're still thinking deputies.
We haven't clarified that yet. Right now, it'll just be Michael and I. And if we have it in our budget, we would take the deputies, but if we don't, then we'll only be going ourselves. This is the 2026 budget but our approval needs to be in before then.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Keaton.
Aye.
Mickle. Kennedy.
Aye.
Bazil.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Awesome. Approved.
All right, and then we have two personnel requests that I'll defer to Penny on those.
Are you gonna do the parking?
Oh, we're just letting you know that we are asking for some parking spaces directly in front of our building. We're going to Public Works for that.
Yeah, so we had, get deliveries as we have the loading docks and deliveries come through our office for the Meadows building. And we were getting a large equipment shipment in the other day. And we had a big tractor trailer pull in and they couldn't pull in because there were cars parked in the spaces in front of the loading dock. We asked around the building for people to come move their cars. Time comes around, trucks get there, there's one car sitting there, the person had been contacted, never showed up to move their car. So we had to kitty corner this tractor trailer in They got one corner of the lift gate on the loading dock, and we had to rock and push things onto a lift gate and get them out of there. We also have to load on the day before, the day after election day, when we take all the things to the polling places, and anytime large shipments come into the building. It's just kind of difficult for us to clear those spaces so the tractor trailers can pull in.
There is a secondary larger area to turn for the huge trucks that come in, and they do go to the back loading dock, but a lot of them do come to ours. And so we do it often enough that we just asked if we could have those set spots. So we're going to Public Works, so we're just letting you know that you're a parent committee. So we're going to them just to say, hey, can we get those spots?
What are those spots used for now? Just general?
General parking.
Thanks.
Then we'll talk about the next ones. For sure.
So next, we're going to do approval to change the commissioner terms from 2 years to 4 years. The default is 2, but the state election law does grant the legislative bodies the power to change that to 4-year terms. This was tabled in 2024. We were hoping that would get passed, but there's been no action on it since. We're just kind of bringing it up again. There are currently 37 counties with 4-year terms and 25 counties still with 2-year terms in New York State.
What is required in law?
Yes.
And then in the local legislative body can also stagger the years as you guys have now done, so. You would probably want to, you'd have it by resolution and then it goes up to the state. Approval.
So, I have a question that we might want to answer before I would move this approval just so we can discuss.
Second.
So my question is, the election law from the state says that the term of the office shall be 2 years beginning January 1st of each odd numbered year. Is that going to change when we go to if our election changed to the even number year? Does that change this, or is that?
No, this is just our appointed terms. That's just
They're not
get off
elected.
the
It runs independently of the elected. Okay,
Yeah.
it's just chosen to start in a odd numbered year. Except if you're in the county of Schenectady, of course, city of New York.
And what are the benefits for you guys for extending it 4 versus 2?
I think it's more, not necessarily Michael and I, it's more so for the office, it's continuity in the office for 4 years. And our big elections are, 4 years. Gubernatorial, presidential. Keeps us in the office.
There's one less thing for us to do every 2 years and you to do every 2 years. Where we always have to, in the midst of doing everything else, where our workload kind of gets loaded up in September, October, November. Like, oh, who's got to go up for reappointment? We got to get that in roundabout, turned around in time for the next year.
It's also different than a regular appointed authority because when my appointment is up, you have the decision whether or not you want to reappoint me or not, or anywhere along the way. And in their case, they are really pushed forward by their individual parties. And you can try and remove me for incompetence or misconduct. They can only be removed by the governor. So, I mean, their situation is kind of a little bit different than other appointing authorities. So, it makes sense to me to have it be treated differently and to have the terms fixed with gubernatorial and presidential elections for the continuity that they're talking about in their department.
Any other questions or comments or anything? I think it makes sense.
Good.
And then this would have to roll call vote.
Keaton.
Aye.
Michael.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Bazile.
Yes.
Scanlon.
And that would go to Anthony. And then the whole local.
And then lastly, this is something that we came across and we just feel needs to be addressed and that's approval for granting our deputies overtime and compensation pay. Just in the past of the evolutions of things, back when Lori and I were deputies, we weren't eligible for overtime. That there's a change and I defer to Penny on that. Because of the level of their position, they technically should be getting overtime unless they found some kind of agreement with us to get compensation time in exchange for it. So Penny, if you want.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's pretty much in summary, that it would be what the bottom line is, that they don't meet the criteria under the Fair Labor Standard Act to be exempt from overtime. You have to meet a salaries threshold, which they don't meet at 64,000. They're less than that, so they don't meet the threshold, and you have to meet the threshold and the duties test. And the duties test is that they have the ability to hire, to fire, and promote, to discipline, and they don't have that. So they are not exempt under the Fair Labor Standard Act, which means that if they work over the 40-hour work week now, they would have to get paid overtime. If they work up to 40 because they're salaried, you wouldn't have to pay for that chunk between 35 and 40. But once you hit 40, that additional time has to be paid for because of the fact that they fall under being non-exempt from the Fair Labor Standard Act. But they are M&C and they are salaried.
They're
not paid by
salaried?
the hour. Yeah, they're not paid, they're not considered hourly because they're paid by the salary. Go ahead. The other thing is that, the duties test, that they don't meet the criteria under the duties test. They have to have an agreement either with the county or an MOA with, the maybe committee and with Lori and Mike to have compensation time instead of overtime. You can't force an employee to take the comp time instead of the overtime. It has to be agreed upon. So they're not members of a union because they're unclassified, meaning they fall under the unclassified section of civil service. And they don't have union representation. So it would have to be agreed upon where the employees agree that they'll take the comp time instead of the time and a half. And they would get the comp time in the equivalent by time and a half, but apparently they don't want that. So you can't force an employee to have to take comp time instead of overtime.
Initially, this wasn't an issue when we didn't have like early voting. Now that we have that, and we're expecting a lot more of them in office. We're running into it. We're coming up with so much comp time and
Do you have any sense for, I don't know, hours, dollars of overtime if we grant them?
I would say that they have probably 50 to 70 hours in overtime
A year
for an election.
for each election.
And that's just off the top of my head, that's sticking in my head.
Well,
I can give you
I-
more facts.
I don't think you.
That's
In
the most
overtime or in hours going over?
Hours going
hours going over.
Yeah. Okay.
50 hours per election.
I would say yes.
What's the hourly, what would the hourly rate be in a 10-day? Sure. It's so.
But their salary does.
Salary.
How do you figure that out?
That's a good.
Well, we would just divide it out by 35 to be able to figure it out. Or actually, if they work the 1783 hours a year, if they're working the less hours in the summer, I think you guys follow the same thing as most of the white collar employees do. So we would take their salary and we would divide it out by 1783 hours per year to figure out an hourly rate. And then they would get time and a half for that, 1.5 times that hourly rate.
And what is the salaried rate in which it doesn't? What is the state salary rate, Penny, that they would meet, that they wouldn't qualify for overtime? You're saying that they make 64,000 or whatever in that?
They make 50,000. The salary threshold right now is 64,350. And January 1, it'll go up to, I think, maybe 66,300. So anyone that does not, any MNC employee that does not hit that amount would be the same, that they would have that window of 35 to 40 hours a week where they wouldn't have to get paid any additional time, but as soon as they hit over 40, they get paid time and a half, and they get paid for that in between time as additional time. So there aren't very many MNC employees, but as they keep increasing the threshold, there are more of them at a time. So, each time that they increase it. So there are probably, I'm going to say grade 2 and grade 3 employees that could fall under that. And they generally know, the directors know who they are. Each year I make sure I let someone know. There was a point in time that we didn't have anybody hit the threshold, but because the fact that the threshold keeps going up every year, there will be more people that will hit that threshold, that will have to get overtime if they hit over 40. And it's generally the department heads that keep track of who these people are so that they don't go over.
Does it make more economic sense to pay them a higher rate than to pay them the overtime?
I think we need some numbers.
But I'm sure that's a union, well, no, because they're MCs.
Right, but the thing is that it's not just the salary, it's salary and duties threshold. So they don't look just at your title or just at your salary. You have to meet both thresholds. So if we were to move the deputies to the threshold, which is 64,350 right now, they're still not going to have the ability to hire, to fire, to discipline,
Okay.
so they still won't meet the threshold.
All
So
right.
why are they MNC
The
then?
way you would let them.
If they can't do those.
Subject to code or something.
No.
And again, it's just only if we're incapacitated.
Well, I would allow a retreat.
I mean, we can certainly,
So I have a,
we can certainly revisit this next month, except next month is when we would run into our overtime. So
Yeah.
Right.
Penalize them. And how many hours did you say? I say 50, but 30, 50?
Of overtime, like that would be billed in at time.
per election.
Because they have to work weekends, they have to work nights.
Yeah.
And I'm all about these folks being compensated.
Yeah.
My question was just,
How to
No,
do
I
it.
mean, that's a
Yeah.
legitimate question.
yeah.
Is there, Penny, why are they MNC?
That's,
Let's
that's, another issue. I mean, because there's certain criteria that you have to fall under for MNC, and some of the people were MNC before I even came here. So anybody that's MNC that, in my mind, should not have been MNC when the position either turns over or, vacates or whatever, that's when we will look more closely at it, because there were some positions that I'm not sure how they became MNC.
I just wondered if they weren't MNC, then they'd automatically get the overtime, correct?
Yes. Yes, but I'd have to look more closely. They may be legitimately under MNC, but I don't want to say for sure. I have some question about that, but I mean, at this point, they've never had turnover at the same time where you can't just change one of the positions and not the other. Also, I mean, I don't know if unclassified can fall under, if they're not MNC, they're going to be union, they're not, or they're going to be, I'm not sure. I'd have to look into it more. Yeah, I'd have to look into it.
Trying to think of different things.
Yeah.
And we try to do the schedule as much as we can to avoid overtime. And just avoid overworking people before the day that we all have to be there for 16 to 18 hours. But the fact is, in the lead up to the election, they're gonna have to work at least one extra day per week. And of course, election day and 5 a.m. to when we're done.
And this year we did change our staffing for that reason. Make sure we didn't have everybody.
And just to be clear, the deputies have said that comp time isn't really enough at this point. Like they would prefer, Penny had said that we could choose, it has to be an agreed upon decision to pay out comp time rather than overtime. And maybe we've been doing that, but now it's like, now we're at this
just
new
gets the
threshold of a
condition.
lot of hours and we'd really just rather have the money.
And it just gets to the point where they can't possibly spend all the comp time.
Gotcha.
Good to know these things, yeah.
Right, and we don't pay out for comp time when they leave. So,
Right.
it's a very big disincentive for them to want to work additional hours or, without knowing how it is that they're going to be compensated for it.
And it's not just the election days. We're actually open from 8:30 to 4:30. Or 9 to 5 for petitioning. The petitions come in at 5, you're there till they're taken care of.
Do we need a dollar amount estimate for this? For
We-
budget or anything, Steve?
Two things. First off, if we're gonna execute this for 2025, we'll have to take it out of contingency. And we just had another 7:30 in the committee before this. I won't explain that anymore, but you all know what that means in terms of the contingent account. The other thing is, given the way 26 is shaping up, I think we need to understand the fiscal cost of doing this. If only to find out where in the world we can pay for it. Because, you know, like Michelle says, we need some dollars to get an understanding of this. I think this is very helpful in raising the issue. Right, and now we know we have to do one this, but we gotta do some financial analysis. We'll be happy to work with these guys.
Well,
But
They could take it to
November is
admin.
coming.
They could take it to admin, and then we can have a special meeting. Board, right?
yeah, I think that I would really like to see us try and find the money sometime in 2025. These are employees who are gonna be doing
You'll have to
Amount
come from
of work.
contingent.
well, okay.
You're
That's
kind of
what-
put in a
that's what they
position
just
to
told
have
us.
to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like legally, we don't really have a choice.
Right, people.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think it was willful non-compliance on the part of the county. This is the first time I've heard that the employees do not want the compensation time instead.
well, and
And
I
if they haven't agreed with that, you're kind of put in a position where you have to figure it out.
And I could imagine for Michael and Lori having these folks who report to them and help their office function successfully. When you have so much comp time, it's putting higher workload on them also. And, you know, really like, I think keeping our employees happy in their positions is I view as one of our duties, and also like,
You know, with abiding by New York State law, a higher priority, but yes,
Yes.
of course, we would like happy employees here.
Okay, so we'll go back, we'll bring up some numbers, and then when we come to admin, we'll have an actual plan in place.
Yeah, especially for 25, so that we know about how many hours and what that will look like for 25.
That's all we have.
Do we need to vote on this or just?
Now we'll
no,
get
but we
the,
probably should anticipate having a IGA meeting before the board.
Right, unless you
Right.
vote now and say the numbers are to be determined.
What's that?
I said, yes, you'll have to have a pre-board meeting unless you make a vote now and say that the numbers will be predetermined or, you know, brought to the admin committee.
Well, we can, yeah, let's do admin, bring it to admin.
Thank you.
That? Thanks for coming in. All right. Next up, Tammy.
Morning.
Morning.
I have a few different items for you today. The first one, I'm gonna start with resolution request to sign an MOA with Southern Tier 8 for their housing framework. That is an ARC funded kind of regional effort to do a regional market analysis for housing, look at which areas of the region are best served for capacity expansion, and other kind of infrastructure growth opportunities. The ask from us is to help provide the required in-kind match. So each county is being asked to provide 28,000 in kind over 2 years. And so I just took, like, say I had 3 of my staff kind of contributing time on it, that'd be about $4,600 of staff time over 2 years, per year for 2 years. So it's not a huge ask comparative to, we provide a general in-kind to Southern Tier every year for a variety of planning work that we do, and we usually contribute around 23,000 per year right now to Southern Tier. So they have the understanding that some of that work that we're doing under that general in-kind will be pulled away and go towards this housing effort. But I think it's doable. So I did provide sort of their scoping document that they had submitted with their application, as well as the draft of the MOU. Some minor details of the MOU may change, which we'll have a county attorney's office review. They do have this version of it, so we'll apprise them of any changes. But that gives you an idea of the kinds of in-kind work that we would be reporting on. So it's a lot of stuff that we already do. It's just accounting for it this time in a different way.
So is there, I'll move approval so we can discuss.
Second.
Is there a delta between how much we pay Southern Tier in a normal year and this 23,000, or was that? What is the amount?
What do you mean?
Sorry, I just am wondering, is there any additional money that we have to pay to Southern Tier 8?
We do pay
Wages?
dues,
Yeah.
around 8,000. We split the dues with Otsego now.
Right.
But we do pay dues, and then on top of the dues, we provide in-kind hours.
Okay.
And that supports their EDA planning grant. Now, some things are up in the air with EDA, so we probably won't be reporting as much in-kind for that anyway, and so we can move our focus towards doing the housing, kind of dedicating to that housing work.
Okay, so, but the actual amount of money that changes hands between the county and Southern Tier 8 would not.
Not
substantially
significantly,
change.
it's,
Okay.
it's maybe a couple hundred.
You
Going into
think your
26.
staff has enough available time to get these in-kind hours?
Yeah, between myself and primarily in housing, I have Trevor working on that. So also the salary rates are that, we'll probably make up that a little bit faster. And then we can also utilize our partners and what they're calling the housing ecosystem. So we can work with ORHA to use their time to contribute, to help support our in-kind match as well. That's not a requirement, but that's something we're allowed to do to round that out.
And ORHA's time counts as your time.
Yes. Yep.
And would them working on like a housing grant that you got, would that count, or is it something above and beyond that?
So the CDBG grant, we probably won't report for this because we do claim admin money for the program, so we won't double dip on that, but anything outside of that. So we can think about how we did some work and support this, I should note, this backdates to March of this year. So we did some work in support of the vacant rental program application. All that time that we spent, assisting with that contributes toward Southern Tier 8's efforts. They've drafted the in-kind scope in such a way that we can very broadly incorporate time into it.
Amy, are all counties in Southern Tier 8 being a part of this, or all of them?
Yes.
Roll call vote.
Peyton.
Aye.
Michael. Aye. Kennedy. Aye. Zeal.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Aye.
So that's Amy.
The next is a resolution request to set strategies into the energy roadmap. Recall, about a year ago, we did our first iteration of the completed roadmap. And we had decided, we're not going to say we approve the strategies, but we're accepting the strategies because there's a variety of interests and backgrounds that are represented within the roadmap. We just want to make sure it's inclusive. And so what I provided you was the spreadsheet that I had provided the Energy Task Force. And this is a summary of all the changes. The vast majority of these changes just represent our partners providing updates or kind of minor changes to contact. So I do want to I'll give you sort of the more substantial changes. A few of them are new strategies. On the first page, there is a strategy under, so if you look at the top, it's whether it's updating the goal, which working group it fell under, the name of the strategy, and then what the edits are. So if we go down to the working group, there's one under buildings and efficiency, and there's a new strategy. One of those is to improve Otsego County's aging building stock. The discussions we had with ORHA and OFO with their weatherization program and some others in this process, they submitted feedback to say, it's one thing to have goals in the energy roadmap about converting homes to, say, renewable energy or promoting opportunities to them. But if the envelope issues of the home and the structural issues in the home are not addressed, it really doesn't do anything. And so we have such a hurdle in this county of making sure our aging homes are being maintained well, that it's really a kind of requisite precursor to then being able to use air source heat pumps, say, to heat and cool your house. If you're losing tons of heat in your house, it defeats the purpose. So they requested a new strategy regarding that. And then,
Tammy, can I just ask, and that's mainly for weatherization
yes,
projects? Okay.
yeah, it's mainly in support of weatherization. And so we heard from Ed Cope at OFO who said, it doesn't even make sense for me to do some of these weatherization programs because they even have structural issues with the house that has to be addressed first that mean, trying to put some more insulation is meaningless. And so we really have to get at the root of some of our building issues in order to make those other things viable.
Okay.
And then on the third page, this one is under environment, and that'll be closer to the bottom. There's a new strategy, and this one came out of our office, and it's increased availability of lower emission public transportation. And the idea is that not saying that we're going to, next year, we're not going to convert our whole bus to electric, but knowing that some of these things are on the horizon, we want to make sure that we note that we should be trying to understand when that requirement may come our way and how we're going to address it. So it's just to start that conversation. And we also put in there regarding the on-demand service that we had put some grant applications for, and having that in the roadmap supports our application. So that's why that one's in there. Then finally, the other major change is on the next page. And it's under the one that says environment/infrastructure. And all we're doing there is merging two strategies into one that seemed kind of like they were saying the same thing. So just so you know, there might be, somebody was looking for a strategy under one of them, they're now merged together under infrastructure instead of environment. So those are the major changes. The rest are just our partners telling us what they've been working on under the strategies that are already in there.
So the motion would be to accept the new strategies and the updates.
Yes.
That's my motion.
Second.
Any questions or concerns? I just have to say there's some on here that I don't agree with, so, that's why I'm not going to vote in favor of it today, just because there's some things on here I just don't think are in the best interest of us right now. Roll call.
Keane,
No.
Mickle. Aye. Kennedy,
Aye.
Bazile,
Yes.
Scanlon.
No,
The next two are related to transportation. The first is a request to purchase two Lot G buses, that's refers to the lot on the OGS contract. They're 16 passenger buses at a cost not to exceed $332,136 for the total. That not to exceed cost reflects what's in our budget for this year, as well as what's in our grant contract with DOT. These are, no, what's that? Sorry, I put it all right,
Oh, okay.
right in the agenda, my bad.
Thank you.
Sorry, yep. So this is a purchase that would be funded 80% federal, 10% state, and then we'll have the 10% local match. It's to replace buses. By the time we will receive them, we're looking at kind of about a year out still, right, Nicole? For these orders. We're going to be receiving 2 that we ordered last year anytime now. So when we get the order in for this one, then we'll receive them next year. It just keeps us on the replacement cycle with the buses that are aging out. So we have that request.
Second.
Discussions? Roll call?
Keaton.
Aye.
Mickle.
Aye.
Kennedy.
Aye.
Bazil.
Yes.
Scanlon.
Aye.
All set, Tina?
And then the last resolution is regarding, this one is the handout. Regarding the contract with the city of Oleana that we have to cost share the OPT Cooperstown route. We're in the last year of the 2-year extensions this year, so we met with the city to discuss, one, we're going to continue this, and then how would we continue that into another 5-year term? So what Nicole's put together is just some background for what we've paid previously. Our 2026 request is in the budget at $135,875. So that is in Munis, that was under the target. That has associated state revenue. We always cover the costs of our OPT contract with an annual allocation that we get from the Department of Health, State Department of Health. And that goes back to when public transportation was impacted by changes to Medicaid transportation when it went to the taxi service. A lot of public transportation systems suffered as a result. And so there's been an annual allocation for that. And it's $194,935. And then when we don't use that allocation, we apply to our other transportation programs. But so there's money in the budget for 2026 as of now. And what the city is proposing is that instead of doing the annual, what we do is at the end of the year, we do an annual reconciliation and we take all the expenses associated with it, all the revenues generated, both fare, advertising, and state aid. And then what's left, what's not covered by that revenue, we split that. And our current agreement is 55% county, 45% city. And then we figure it out at the end of the year. And that really is not ideal for either of us. So what they're proposing is that we do a base cost of $25,000 per quarter and reconcile twice per year. So in the middle of the year, we'll reconcile. And if that $50,000 was too much, they'd pay us, or we would pay the additional. And that gives us a much better sense halfway through the year where things stand. I mean, we've really struggled with that every year, and we've voiced that to the city that it's very hard for us to budget appropriately for this. I mean, the good news is we have ample funding from the state for that allocation, but that doesn't, at a certain point, it's still, extra work and budget transfers and things that we have to do to make that work. So this will hopefully make it a little bit easier for us to know early on how the system's doing. We expect early on, we're going to be above that $100,000 base because we've shared with you in the past the issues that we have with the current buses. The company went under, and it's been really difficult to get parts, which means when there's a long lead time between parts, some of which only come from Ukraine.
Oh, geez.
They were purchased in 2019. We didn't know. But so with that being said, there's a long lead time on parts, and then what ends up happening is they have to supplement with some of their vehicles. We're gonna make some changes to our fleet and try to rearrange. We've got a larger bus being used for Otsego Express we don't think needs to be used. We'll move some buses around to help with that, but there is gonna be some level of having to use OPT buses on this route at the beginning of that contract, so we'll probably be a little higher than 100,000. And the last bullet point on this page says costs are not likely to be more in the county's favor. If you cross out that not, that was me editing text and I didn't take care of it. As the contract goes on, we expect the costs will move more towards the county's favor because we have in our current grant application a request to replace those buses. So we would hope that closer to the end of that 5-year term, we have new buses with a company that is more appears to have a stronger foothold. They're going to be around for a while. So we would feel that it would the maintenance cost would decrease. That's really what we're running into is the maintenance cost. So that's what they've proposed to us. Oh, and Nicole has been doing route studies just to confirm that 55-45 split. And it is still consistent with actually it's was a little bit above 55 with ridership, but the city was agreed to just keep it at it was close enough that to keep it at the 55-45, but we're still in line with that original share.
And the city has the capacity to bill you quarterly.
They will have the capacity is what we've been shared. There's another person coming on staff and with Alan we'll also be learning how to do this reconciliation. They feel that some of those capacity challenges will resolve because that's also been an issue with it from the financial side.
And they requested it, so, right?
Yeah. This is by and large the best performing route in the county. Nicole provided some ridership trends, but it's our most heavily utilized between both systems, I believe. Certainly within ours.
Also, we, for the RTAP grant that we applied for, we did partner with the city of Oneonta for that grant, just because of the Cooperstown route, because we were hoping that the grant funds would help us fund microtransit that would primarily funnel passengers into the Cooperstown route because of its high frequency and performance. Just adding to the importance of that route and our relationship with the city for it.
And this is the Cooperstown one.
Yeah. And that's due to the high frequency of it. Most of our Otsego Express routes just take pretty much 4 trips a day, and the Cooperstown route takes 24 trips a day. 12 one-way trips or round trips.
That is a lot of wear and tear on the buses.
Yeah.
We would be looking to have an approval of the contractor. Is it a contractor or an MOU?
Yeah, it'd be a cost share agreement.
Cost share agreement, exact language.
And I don't know if the fact that it's being 2026, if that matters, because it's gonna be 2026 and the budget hasn't been adopted, but we just wanted to get these things lined up. I don't know if that makes an impact on it or not, but.
What if we approve it contingent upon funding in the 2026 budget? Like we can agree on the general terms and the way that it's set forth, and then we'll just have the money come and we hopefully get some money in the 26 budget.
Okay.
Do we have a second? Any other questions for him?
Thanks.
Roll call.
Kane, Michael, Kennedy, Kazeel,
Yes.
Scanlon.
And then the last thing I just wanted to share with you that the transit RFP responses are due tomorrow. So we will then be able to review the proposals this month. We'll forward them onto the committee so you have them well ahead of time. Basically, as soon as we receive them, we'll just forward them on to you so you can have them as well. And so then we'll be able to dig into them and then come to you in November to have a larger discussion about it.
Do you know if anyone that is on the docket today?
No, they haven't told us, but we've had, we've gotten, we did a pre-proposal meeting and we had attendance at that, and we also had some questions and issued an addendum, so, and the questions were phrased in such a way that, makes me think we'll have some interest, so.
Tammy, do you want to tell the committee about the IRT?
Oh, yeah. So you all might recall a couple years ago, we had looked at doing an IRT opportunity. So that is, IRT stands for Innovative Readiness Training through the military, and there's different types of IRT missions. We were seeking a medical mission, and a couple years ago when we did it, we had the opportunity to have an application sponsored through Southern Tier 8 would apply on our behalf to the military to request this, and it was between us and Broome County, and they just edged us out on the votes that time. So the opportunity came up again, and we were able to get all the partners together. So we have opportunities for Otsego. Hartwick College would be the host. SUNY Oneonta also was interested in providing space. The city of Oneonta, with their armory, was interested in providing space. We have Susquehanna and SPCA for the veterinary component. And then we also talked to Destination Marketing Corporation to assist with outreach. And then we had to have a medical partner who could do the credentialing, because some of these military providers come from other states, so they need to be credentialed in New York. And we have Shenango Memorial Hospital, UHS, who has agreed to do that. So we were able to line up all the partners and presented that to Southern Tier 8 board, looking for medical, dental, vision, and veterinary. I visited the one in Delaware County a couple years ago, and people were able to get glasses on the spot. They fabricate them right there, which is pretty incredible. I watched somebody get a tooth pulled. So they'll also take care of issues right there, which is really great. And a lot of medical screening that's, really needed. So the idea is then you have all these other partners who are around to capture them so they can get some continuity to their care afterwards. Hey, do you know that we also have these programs going on now that you've been screened and you have these issues? Let's keep that going. They also do some mental health screenings and some public health education. And so we also have the Department of Health here in Otsego who is really excited about it as well. So we presented it to the Southern Tier 8 board. It was between us and Delaware County to host it again. And we said, well, why don't we rotate it around? And I think we have a really demonstrated need in this county for this kind of service. And so, the board selected Otsego County, and so Southern Tier 8 submitted the application right before the shutdown. So we'll hear, hopefully hear something at some point. Because usually we're looking to have a mission in 2027 in June. So this would need to start having serious planning in 2026. So we'll know something in the near future.
It'll definitely be open again by then.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah. And I know that Broome County just did it last year, and they had, what was it, 2,800 visitors throughout. It's a week long.
Yep.
It's a week long, and they had over 2,800 that came throughout their county. And I know Delaware County on that meeting said that they were going to send some of their people over, but I mean, I think it's a great opportunity, and thank you for doing all that work and getting all the pieces of the puzzle together to be able to make that application and get it to him. So thank you for that.
Thanks. Yeah, it was, it's like, felt like, cause I tried this 2 years ago, it was like getting the old gang back together, but all the people had changed.
Yeah.
But, no, it's good. And I'm really actually grateful of, just how enthusiastic everybody was about it. So I think this is a good thing. What I've been told by Delaware County is that this is one of those things that you can't even yet begin to imagine the different ways that the community kind of steps up. I mean, people just come out to support this stuff. So I think it's very exciting to think about the different ways that the community benefit, not just from the medical piece, but economically. That's why it's really important that we made that connection with CAS. Let's get the, the service members connected to local opportunities and things to do and spend money in our county as well. So I think it's a kind of a mutual benefit.
Great, thanks, Kate.
Yeah, congrats.
Anything else for anyone today? So, you won't be here on the 15th. Is everyone else gonna be here on the 15th for the budget meeting? Thanks, Sam.
Yeah, thank you.
When is it?
The 15th at, 2 to 5, 2?
Two,
Two to five.
potentially to five.
2 to 5 on the
depending who shows
15th.
up.
I'll be here.
Is it here or downstairs?
Downstairs, and we are putting together packages
2 to 5.
that we will send to you probably before the weekend with everything everyone has submitted. Plus our analysis of those different things as it applies to your committee.
And you're gonna have people come, department heads or the outside agencies come down to the meetings, correct?
Oh, yeah,
And you'll have.
absolutely for them.
For all them,
They're, that's being handled out of Carol's office.
Okay.
And it's just like you get on the agenda for one of these. And they'll be able to make whatever pitch they think is appropriate. And in your committee, there'll be a lot of the community partners, DMC.
can I ask you that considered an open meeting?
Yes. It will not be live streamed. If it's like a regular workshop. So you can go up there and observe
Okay.
that.
Because I was just gonna ask, if someone's in there, can we shut the door and let that one person have their time? But you're saying no, that it's an open, so anyone can come in and listen at any time.
If we decide to do an executive session or an individual
Okay.
wanted to, talk about the terms of their contract, for example, or something like that.
Right.
Because I just remember last year, I just found it strange, I don't know, just having people talk about their stuff and then other people just sitting around listening and, I don't know. Whatever, okay.
Taxpayers' money.
Well,
True.
what she's really talking about, I think, are other department heads.
That's
Right,
true. Yeah.
right.
Probably, which they didn't already know, maybe.
Alright, it's just me.
Yeah. I do get it, though. It seems very proprietorial and
Yeah, if someone had something private they wanted to talk about, they had room full of people and they couldn't really
Yeah.
explain it. But we can go into executive session if we need.
If need be, but it is the budget. There's very little in the budget that is suitable for executive committee, unfortunately.
well, I have to go.
Yep, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So,
All in favor?
Just to let you know,
Right.
that's that situation with the computer. If you need to get a hold of me about anything, you call.
Oh,
Just call
sure,
me, message.
okay. We're all set, Jason.
Recording stopped.
Sure.
Here.
no,